Hello guys, Claudia Boleyn here, and today's video is all about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. So I'm very sorry to those of you who haven't read it or seen it, but this is going to be spoilery, so you might not want to watch this video until you've seen it or read it, in which case come back and watch this later. Okay, so this arrived on the very day it came out, which I believe was Harry's birthday, and I forgot I'd pre-ordered it, so it came in the post and I thought, ooh, what's this surprise present coming through my letterbox? And it was this beautiful volume. I have to be completely honest about this. This is not me reviewing the play or anything. I haven't seen the play, but I was disappointed when I first read this. And you know what? I think it's partly my fault. I think that a lot of us had very high expectations. I love the Harry Potter books so much. I've read them so many times. I just really love JK's style, and Harry Potter himself is one of my favourite characters of all time, which apparently is quite unusual because when you ask most people who their favourite Harry Potter character is, it's not often Harry. But I just love Harry. I relate to him on a really deep spiritual level, and I just love him very much. First of all, I had unfair expectations because obviously this is a script, so you don't get all those character thoughts and those insights, those things that make the book so special. That was my own fault. Also, I think a lot of us, it's been such a while that we all have our own ideal scenarios for what's happened to the characters, that when you actually read what has happened to the characters, you can't help but be like a tiny, tiny weeny bit disappointed, which is, again, our own faults. But I do think that there are some things about it which did annoy me a little bit, and I'm not in any way trying to say that the media we read or anything should be formed for anyone really but the author. It's the author's vision, so as someone who's writing a novel myself, I totally get that. But as a reader, there was one thing which really annoyed me. Now, I'm LGBT. You know that I am bisexual. When I say I'm LGBT and people say to me, no you're not a lesbian, like I'm bisexual, that's the B in LGBT. So I read this book and I wasn't reading it with LGBT goggles on, and sometimes I do. Like, we reach, in our community we do reach, and it's because we live in a society which doesn't really acknowledge us. Like, it's hard for us to get good representation in the media. So often we reach and we know we're going to be disappointed, yet we get sucked in and then we just get even more sad and angry. But reading this script, the relationship between Albus and Scorpius really, really stuck out to me as a relationship which was potentially romantic. Early on romantic because they're quite young. I'm not saying there's anything like sexual or anything in it, but the romance that comes when you're young and LGBT, and I obviously relate to that. If you're LGBT, you will as well. There's this weird idea that if you're LGBT, then your relationships have to be all about like being sexual, and that's why we're only usually acknowledged in stuff once we're sort of over 18. But it's not often acknowledged that you do get crushes, and it does kind of come out earlier. Like when I had a crush on someone when I was 5. I had a crush on one of my teaching assistants when I was 5, and I think she formed the basis of my ideal woman nowadays. Like, that's just me. But anyway, it wasn't like a weird sexual thing. It was just like I just looked up to her and I loved her and I admired her, and I was kind of like obsessed. Not in a creepy way, but just like, oh my god, she's so beautiful. Anyway, I digress. What I see between Albus and Scorpius in this book is the sort of early LGBT thing where you have this very, very intense friendship with someone and this very intense connection, and I had this myself around the ages that they're supposed to be in the play. And I think that you don't realise, because the society we live in is quite heteronormative and we don't learn about these kind of things, you don't realise at that age, and you just end up having these really intense friendships. And it kind of goes above and beyond, but you don't realise. And reading the play, I got really excited about halfway through because I genuinely thought that we were going in the direction of Albus and Scorpius being a couple. And I thought, maybe naively, that because of the stuff with Dumbledore, where we didn't really find out that he was gay until quite late, and it was sort of an afterthought kind of thing, and a lot of LGBT fans weren't particularly pleased with that, I really thought that JK was going to give us that couple towards the end and show us that, you know, you can have representation. It doesn't have to be all about the sexuality, it can just be something about the characters. And so I got my hopes up, and which might have been foolish of me, but I really do think that there's so much in that text which points towards a very sort of early romantic relationship between those two characters. So I was disappointed. I mean, there was that. They're explicitly compared to Snape and Lily, and I know that's not the blueprint of the perfect relationship at all, but they are one of the big Harry Potter couples. Also, you know, there's that line, you know, about Scorpius giving up his kingdom for Albus, which was just like big alarms were going off in my head, and I was thinking, this is not in your brain, Claudia, like there's something there. Just the way they react with each other, and they seem to get jealous when the other is interacting with a girl or someone they might fancy, and it just, I related to it so heavily myself as someone who is an LGBT person and has been in their position, and so I kind of felt very gutted. I felt like the second to last scene, where suddenly, after all this has happened, and basically it's a love story between Scorpius and Albus, at the end, the second to last scene kind of felt like a no homo in play form, really. It was like the no homo scene. Now, I don't want to disregard the idea of like I'm bisexual myself, so this is not me saying that Scorpius having a crush on Rose and wanting to marry Rose makes him any less LGBT, bisexual, pansexual, whatever, or maybe doesn't realise yet. But that's looking at it from an LGBT person who's very into the community, and I kind of think we have our hopes too high. I think it would be too optimistic of us to assume that JK wanted to sort of show us the complexity of life as a young LGBT person and how society can mess you up a little bit and confuse you, and so as much as I wish it was just an indicator that like Scorpius is bisexual, the thing with Rose, I don't think they're going to go there, and that's what's so disappointing to me, because without changing anything at all in the whole play, you had the perfect couple, you had soulmates, you had these young characters that are both so relatable and lovely, and that you just really get having this strong bond, and it wasn't like sexual, it wasn't forced, it was just this perfect relationship. But the thing I wanted to say about this, I've seen a lot of people saying, oh no, it's great that they're having this friendship, there's this male friendship, and like that's completely true. I love that. I especially love like the character of Scorpius and how emotional he is, and how that sort of rubs off on Albus. It's lovely to see a lead male character that, you know, kids are going to look up to, who's a guy who is emotional and very sort of... Scorpius is just... he's lovely. I love him very much. He is a very good role model, and it's a lovely expression of male friendship. It is. But the thing is, when people say that, I kind of feel a little bit frustrated because, for one, I mean, every male-male friendship you see on TV, I think like 90%, maybe even like 95%, that's male friendship. So, you know, there is a lot. It's not like, oh, can't men be friends anymore? Like, almost every pair of men you see anywhere in anything are friends. So we're not lacking in that. And also, I think that if, say the story changed and you didn't change anything apart from the fact that you had Rose in the position of Albus, so it's about Rose and Scorpius, people would be reading it and saying, this is a love story, this is a complete love story. They'd be thinking, oh, they're gonna get married at the end and it's perfect, it's like Ron and Hermione, you know, it's like Harry and Ginny, it's perfect. And the fact that people don't see that, it frustrates me a little bit. Some people have said that the play is queer-baiting, and I don't agree with that. I don't think it is, because I don't think there was ever any, come see the play because you'll get to see the gays. I think it's more a case of heteronormativity, and the fact that maybe people who are straight don't really recognise those cues the way that we do. I think it's unintentional. There's nothing cruel about it. There's nothing deliberately homophobic or anything like that. It's not queerbaiting. It's not trying to use LGBT fans and disappoint them. It's more a case of a very, very wasted opportunity, which would have been amazing and would have worked perfectly, simply because of the heteronormativity in our society, where people don't even think. Like, really, if you were to change the gender, then anyone reading that play, the last scene would have been Albus and Scorpius thinking, wait a minute, we're sort of soulmates, like maybe we should go out together. But instead they think, oh, they're two guys, therefore let's bring back a character from earlier. Let's bring back Rose. And yeah, we'll have Scorpius and Rose together, and isn't that just lovely? And it just feels sad to me. Like, I find that it upset me, I'm not gonna lie, and it's nobody's fault, but it feels like such a wasted opportunity, and especially because this play is set, like, in the future, a little bit ahead of us. So it would have been so amazing for so many people, because Harry Potter is this massive, massive thing. It would have been fantastic to see the next generation having that representation, having those lovely characters being LGBT and having it not be their whole character, just something about them. It would have been the perfect ending, I think. Okay, so complaints about that over. I have to talk about Albus and Scorpius just as characters in general, because I wish I could talk more about Rose, but I don't think they give us much in the script, and I was hoping there'd be a little bit more Rose, but yeah. A lot of people have interpreted her as being a bit mean, but I don't think she is. I think that she's like got that mixture of early Hermione, which is kind of, I'm right, and, you know, I have to do the right thing. So obviously, you know, she doesn't like the Death Eaters. They're bad. They've hurt her mother in the past, and obviously she sees the way these old-fashioned people treat her mum and her dad probably when they're together, and so she feels loyal. So I don't think she's as horrible as people think. She's a kid. She's little. She can change. And, like, she's the daughter of Hermione Granger and Ron Weasley. So she is going to have that, like, really, really big intelligence and kind of overbearingness, but also with Ron's sort of lack of tact. So I think people are being way too harsh on poor Rose. The fan favourite of this play seems to be Scorpius. Everyone is calling Scorpius their son. Everyone loves him. They're either in love with him or want to adopt him, basically, depending on their age. So, but for me, my favourite character is Albus. Like I said, my favourite character in the whole Harry Potter thing is Harry, and Albus is just little Harry. He's just like Harry again in a slightly different situation, and I just love the fact that Harry and Albus are having this conflict because they're so similar. It's so real, and I really appreciated that. Now, the exciting announcement I have with regard to The Cursed Child is that so many people have been sort of disappointed by it, which is partly our own faults, maybe not, maybe is, depending on the person, but a lot of people have said, oh, I read the script and it was good, but it wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to read it as a novel. I wish it was a book, and JK I don't think is going to release it as a book. So I took it upon myself to start making the play into a novelisation, which is why there is an attractive pink post-it note. That's how far I've gotten so far. I started an account on AO3, Archive of Our Own. It's like a sort of site where you can put like fiction, that kind of thing. So I'm actually novelising the play, and I'm trying to put in the thoughts and the feelings and try and keep it as Harry Potter-ish as possible. So if you're interested in reading the play with all the same dialogue and directions, just beefed out a bit, you know, then that's what I'm doing. So please give that a read if you want, and if you like it, share it around, because, you know, I'm shameless and I love it. I love the compliments and the people are reading my work. No, but honestly, the comments I've had on it so far, there is no greater joy as a writer than to read a positive review or a comment, because you spend so long on it. And just someone saying how much they enjoy it just genuinely makes me feel like I want to cry with happiness. There are some reviews on that so far that just make me just want to, I'd want to frame them and put them on my wall, basically. But yeah, give that a read. There's a link to that in the description box. Why am I pointing? You know where it is. It's under the screen. Yeah, but give that a read and see if you... I've tried to stay as true to the books as possible, and the only change I'm making is that I am going for the Scorbus, apparently that's the Scorpius Albus ship name, I am going for that angle, but the point is I'm not changing the actual script, because the point I'm trying to make with this is that without changing anything apart from that second to last scene, you have a complete story that makes sense as a love story between those two characters. So it's pretty much exactly the script, but just beefed out. I'm so gutted I won't get to see this live, because I almost shed a tear with despair that I couldn't, because I can't do cinemas and I get panic attacks, and the idea of me getting to London, which means a train and possibly a tube, and then sitting through a performance, would not work. There'd be several panic attacks, it just would not happen. So I'm really gutted about that, and I really hope there's some sort of DVD version, because I really, really want to see this play so much. But yeah, it's just so frustrating. And like, to the people out there who still think I'm faking the mental illness, like, do you think I would deprive myself of going to see The Cursed Child in London? Do you think I'd do that? Before I go, I wanted to show off two Harry Potter themed purchases I made. We went to Primark the other day. People always ask me, Claudia, where do you get your clothes? And I get my clothes from charity shops and Primark, because I'm a cheapskate, and I don't understand why people buy like these expensive designer clothes when you can't really tell they're designer. And like, you can get perfectly good clothes from really cheap places and nobody notices. I've never been one to care about that. I had friends before that would turn up their noses at stuff that was from like high street shops, but the thing is, like, I live in a single parent family and we have low income, and I've been on like free school meals and things. Like, you can't afford to worry about that kind of stuff. Charity shops are great though. You can get tops and dresses for like £2 and it's wonderful. But anyway, my Primark purchase was this top that I'm wearing now, and it's a Harry Potter themed one. Let me show you. Look, it's Quidditch. It's like a Quidditch baseball top, and it says at the bottom, H. Potter, Hogwarts. I absolutely love this top. I forget how much it actually was, but it was quite cheap. And I was on my, like, every 3 months or so, I go on a journey to Primark, which is like 20 minutes away, so it's still a big deal for me to go on a car journey for 20 minutes, and then I get my clothes that I need. And when I was there, I needed more socks, because my socks are, for some reason, I buy them in pairs and they go in the wash in pairs, but then they come out of the wash and several are just never to be seen again, and I can't get them into pairs anymore. I found these. Look at these beauties, my friend. Look. Harry Potter socks with all the different house teams on them. I personally am a Ravenclaw, but, you know, I can wear the Slytherin socks for my beloved Albus and Scorpius, and then Harry, I can wear the red ones for Harry, and I mean everyone loves the Hufflepuffs, and this is me, so I can wear all of these. And best of all, they only cost £3. Yes my friends, £3 Harry Potter socks. So if you can get down to Primark, then these little bad boys can be yours. Right, I'm gonna go now. I'm about to make a video about, I've got a PO box now, so if you want to write to me you can do that, but I'm gonna make a video with all the details of that in next. So you'll see me wearing the same fetching outfit. I'll see you very shortly. Please tell me your thoughts on The Cursed Child. Please give my novelisation a read. I really hope you like it, and obviously I'm a writer myself. I'm writing a novel, so I'm kind of taking a break from that to do this, because I needed to chill out a bit, and it's relaxing, and yeah, your thoughts would be appreciated. But I hope you're enjoying. I'm enjoying it. I'm writing it like 24/7. I love you loads. I'll see you really, really soon. Bye bye.